we're doing Unity's greatest hits right now, so you'll see it come up here in a second. So Ron and I are gonna have some fun. Here we go. 1, 2, buckle my shoe. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Living life just like I should. Wouldn't change it if I could. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Living life just like I should. Wouldn't change it if I could. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Trying to figure out who I am or who I'm supposed to be. Feel good about where I stand so I can make the most of me. I'm coming back down from space, a million miles away. There's a lot of love in this place, and I'm just trying to say I'm good. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Living life just like I should. Wouldn't change it if I could. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Living life just like I should. Wouldn't change it if I could. Been a long time living this way, worrying about what people say. Feel like I don't fit in, but I won't give up, no I won't give in. Been looking for something more. What you really looking for? It's been with you since you were born, since you were born. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Living life just like I should. Wouldn't change it if I could. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Living life just like I should. Wouldn't change it if I could. Good, I'm good, I'm good. You only live once. I'm good with myself. I live for my friends until the very end. I only live once. I'm good with myself. I'm there for my friends until the very end. Wanna see another love revolution? Find a way to be a better person. If we come together like we should, we would all be good. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Living life just like I should. Wouldn't change it if I could. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Living life just like I should. Wouldn't change it if I could. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good.
So for those of you who don't know, that was a song. I went to a conference, I think back in 2016, and they played that song over and over again, and I just loved it. And so I asked Michael to play it every week when people came in, so that those who may have been wounded by a negative church or religious experience would enter our doors and know that they're good. So glad you pulled that back up. So this week, as you know, we celebrate the 75th anniversary of Unity Spiritual Center of San Francisco, which had its very first service on November 3rd, 1946. And if you are here in the sanctuary today, you got this newsletter that has a depiction of that very first program. If you're on Zoom and you'd like a copy, just let us know. We'll send that out to you. So 75 years ago this weekend. And again, in an age where churches have seen declining attendances and donations for the last couple of decades, and especially coming out of the pandemic when many churches and other spiritual centers did close, it is a very special event indeed to be celebrating not only 75 years of serving our community, but also to go into our future with reserves in the bank, a dedicated board of trustees, a delightful and devoted ministry team, and of course, all of you who are the church, all of you. All right, As we celebrate our spiritual community's legacy of love, it gives us the opportunity to also reflect on our own legacy of love. Yesterday afternoon during our Zoomapalooza, acclaimed author, filmmaker, and teacher Phil Cousineau, who's been a friend to USC through the years, led us through a mini workshop to start discovering how to do that, giving us a powerful set of reflection questions. Those questions were, what was an unexpected gift of the pandemic? What can I do with the collective, my family, church, etc., as we go forward? What stories or memories would I love to preserve and pass on? Now, these are questions that can help us not only build a personal legacy, but also our legacy as a spiritual community. So today we're going to take the opportunity to look back at what we've created this year and how we can distill from that what we want to create in the future. Today, I want to use an adaptation of those questions to acknowledge what we've done this year as a community and what we've learned this year. So the first question, what was an unexpected gift of the pandemic? One of the unexpected gifts of the pandemic was the ability to immediately pivot immediately to Zoom. We did not miss a single Sunday service. We stayed connected as a community, and we are continuing to utilize Zoom as a way to keep connected to members and friends as far away as Switzerland, as we just acknowledged with Karen's presence here. I want to thank Michael in particular for pushing some of the more resistant ministers into, into the 21st century. We're kind of like word reflecting types. Michael's more of a tech music type, but you have been such a great, leader in getting us up and running on Zoom. And I know having private sessions with, I think, Sylvia and others and getting them up on Zoom, what a gift you gave us, Michael. So let's give Michael a big round of applause. Another unexpected gift of the pandemic was the invitation to Reverend Brock Ford to join us on the ministry team as a prayer chaplain and now as the Associate Minister of Outreach. His presence here is a great gift to us, as all of you know. There are more gifts too, and I know collectively we could fill this entire talk with them. But I want you to begin to reflect on what you saw as the unexpected gifts of the pandemic. The next question was, what can I do with the collective, my family, church, etc., as we go forward? Now, for our purposes here, let's focus on what we can do as a church collective, as a spiritual community. That answer depends more on you than it does on me. What can we do as a collective? What do you want to do as a collective? What do you want the legacy of love of Unity Spiritual Center of San Francisco to be as we enter our next 75 years? Begin to think now as we move toward the end of the year and toward a brand new year, 2022, about what you'd like to be a part of as we close out this year. The possibilities are endless and exciting. And the last question again, what stories or memories would I love to preserve and pass on? Now today as a gift, if you're in the sanctuary and also if you're on Zoom, you'll just need to email us if you're on Zoom to request your copy. But we are giving everybody a copy of this booklet, which is a history, the stories and memories of the founder of this church, of the ministers of this church, and pictures and events created by the community members who have come through our doors. We enlarged it and updated it this year. And it's really an amazing record to have. And it struck me last night after hearing Phil talk that this is part of my legacy at USC. Because to my knowledge, and maybe Rose or Cheryl and Mary Ellen know differently, but to my knowledge, there never was a written history before of USC. And this was the very first project that I worked on back in 2006 when we were celebrating our 60th anniversary. So holding this in my hand, gives me great fulfillment to have played this part in preserving the stories and memories of USC. Golly, I did great yesterday, right? Oh. And these stories and memories are being written even as I speak. They're being written right this very moment as we look ahead to the future. So the question, what stories or memories do you want to preserve and pass on? Now, I want to leave you with some additional thoughts about how we can leave a legacy not only for our church, but for our larger communities and world. Working together to create a legacy for any community can boil down to 3 simple actions, which we all can take, whether it's for our church, our city, our nation, or our world. We can pray for our church. We can serve in our church, and we can give to our church. Pray, serve, give. That's how you create a legacy, a personal legacy and a communal legacy, by praying, serving, and giving. And speaking of praying, serving, and giving, speaking of creating a legacy, we have a very special member of our community who we want to celebrate today. For more than 50 years, Rose Mcauliffe and her husband, Mike, have been a part of our church, praying, serving, and giving. Both Rose and Mike Mcauliffe have been amazing prayer warriors through the years. They have both done many years of service to our church, and they have faithfully given, which you don't know, but which Jerry and I have had the opportunity to delight in, is that when they give, they decorate their envelopes with stickers and with affirmative sayings. And it's always so much fun to get one of those in the mail. Mike is not able to be with us here today, but Rose, will you please stand up so that we can honor your legacy and let you know how much we love you and admire you. And I have 2 gifts. I have one that I want you to take back to Mike. For you, because you are such a beautiful woman of prayer, we want to give you this prayer box with an angel on it. You have been an angel to USC, and there you can put your own prayer requests as well. Mike is getting something from my personal collection of spiritual, what would you call them? Spiritual stuff. Thank you. But this is a little more special than any old stuff. This is actually something that I believe I got in the Bahamas. It is a shell, and hand carved in the shell is the Lord's Prayer, which I know Michael loves so much. So this belongs with him. So I want to remind you of something that you may not have thought about in terms of Unity Spiritual Center. You sitting here right now, and those of you on Zoom, are the beneficiaries of the legacy of others. It's because of others who have prayed, served, and given through the years that you are able to sit here today in our beautiful sanctuary or join us on Zoom to learn spiritual tools and teachings and enjoy fellowship. All these things are due, at least in part, in the last 75 years to the people who went before us at this church. So the very most important question that we can ask as we conclude our 75th anniversary celebration this weekend is, how can we leave a legacy for those who will come after us at Unity Spiritual Center of San Francisco? And again, I invite you to consider that there are at least 3 things we need to be doing today to leave a legacy for this spiritual community tomorrow. Pray for USC, because our prayers today will affect the future of this church. And our church will affect the saving of marriages, the turning from addictions, the comfort in challenges, the renewal of prosperity, the living of life. So let's join together in praying affirmatively for Unity Spiritual Center. Another thing that we must do to leave a legacy for the church is to serve at USC. In 1 Peter 4:10, it says, each one should use whatever gift he has received to serve others, faithfully administering God's grace in its various forms. So we need to be serving in the church if USC is to continue to exist and leave a legacy for the future. And I think at this time, I want to honor somebody else who has really demonstrated an incredible heart for service through the years. I will get verklempt. And that's Ron Willis. Boy, I mean, as I've said before, no job too small or too large for Ron Willis, from, from helping us with our phone bills to, putting his tall body in the attic to get the ladder out, and so many more things. We're so grateful to you, Ron. You unquestionably have gotten us to this wonderful anniversary. So ask yourself, are you serving at USC? Are you helping to leave a legacy for USC? We have plenty of areas of available service, and you can always talk to me if you have any ideas or things that you would like to be slotted into. And the last thing that we need to do to leave a legacy for USC is to give to USC, because in giving to our church, we not only leave a legacy for the future, but we also reap the benefits of giving. If you've ever filled out one of those offering envelopes, you know that it has the scriptural quote on it, for where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. So it's another way of saying that the things you truly value will be shown in your actions. And I suppose this is as good a time as any to let people know how this community has come together to give. We promised to give you a total for our fall fundraiser today. We beat that $7,500 goal a number of weeks ago. Our very generous anonymous donor has already sent in a check to match that. We also received from another anonymous donor the surprise and incredible gift of yet another $7,500. And with all the donations tallied together, our fall fundraiser raised $23,690. So we just want to thank everybody so much who gave to our fundraiser. How exciting to be moving into 2022 and our next 75 years with that kind of reserves in our bank account, and actually more that we've accrued. So if you love USC, if your heart is in the spiritual community, you are called to give to the spiritual community, because otherwise we can't leave a legacy for others. I kind of feel as I'm talking here that I am preaching to the choir. I know all of you have done all of those things, and I want to thank you for that. And just know that God will use all that you do, your praying, your serving, and your giving to help us leave a legacy well into the future, into the next 75 years by the work that Unity Spiritual Center of San Francisco will do today and beyond. And so it is. Thank you, God. So if Kathy can turn down the lights, I invite you just to lean back in your seats and take a few slow, deep breaths. And whether you're here leaning against a chair, whether you're at home leaning against a couch or a chair or a bed even, just allow yourself to feel held by it, knowing that there's nothing you need to do except just relax into it, just as you are always held by the divine. And now that you are in that beautiful, safe inner sanctuary, let's just take a few moments to reflect on these questions. As collectively we seek to create our own legacies and a legacy for our spiritual center. Father, Mother God, Sacred Spirit, Divine Mind, I desire nothing more than to be in communion with you. How can I pray more? Guide me into understanding how I might spend more time with you throughout the day so that I can create a personal legacy and co-create a legacy for the communities and causes that are so close to my heart. Father, Mother God, Sacred Spirit, Divine Mind, I desire to be in service, to use the gifts that you've given me to make a difference in this world. How can I serve more? Guide me into understanding how I might serve others in more or different ways so that I can create a personal legacy and co-create a legacy for the communities and causes that are so close to my heart. Father, Mother God, Sacred Spirit, Divine Mind, I desire to honor the bounty and blessings of my life by being a good steward of my prosperity. How can I give more? Guide me into understanding how I might give more to others so that I can create a personal legacy and co-create a legacy for the communities and causes that are so close to my heart. May my personal legacy be that I pray, serve, and give to others. May our church's legacy continue as a community that prays, serves, and gives to others. And so it is. So, holding these questions in your heart, knowing that you will receive answers to them if you haven't already, and knowing that you can go within your inner sanctuary at any time for more insight and guidance. Begin now to move your fingers or your feet. Perhaps take another deep breath or two. And when you are ready, opening your eyes and coming back to waking consciousness. Show of hands, people get some interesting information in that meditation or during the talk? Wonderful. Well, that seems appropriate because we are an ocean of love. Here at Unity Spiritual Center, we have an inspiring vision, an exciting mission, and compelling values by which we strive to live. And I invite you to join with me in saying them aloud together. Our vision is centered in God. We co-create a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. Our mission is we are a creative, joy-filled spiritual community dedicated to healing, inspiring, and transforming the lives of all people through prayer, education, and love. And our values are, we are spirit-led, generous with resources, inclusive, joyously creative, and guided by integrity. And in this space, in this beautiful space, feeling inspired by our vision, mission, and values, feeling enriched by what we've experienced here today and what we experienced yesterday, let us take time now to be a channel for enrichment through our generous tithes and love offerings. As Michael plays another beautiful song, please take that time to write out a check to USC, or if you're on Zoom, to make a donation online using the link that I think Jerry's going to provide, but I did see him go like this, so I'm not sure. You can always, yes, good. And if you are in the sanctuary, the ushers have come forward to take your offering. Just want to always remind you that practicing the principle of tithing ourselves as a spiritual community, we are pleased to tithe 10% of the offering collected every Sunday to various Unity organizations and local nonprofits serving our city. So let us take a moment now to bless our tithes and love offerings, placing them in our hands, either literally or metaphorically, or next to our heart as we say our offertory prayer. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
Okay, she announced this as a beautiful song. Go to work, ladies. I need a little help, so I'm going to do something here for a second. I'll be right with you.
I'm so happy. I'll do it for the anniversary.
For the anniversary. Well, take one for the giver. Okay, all right.
Anita might do something.
Yeah, come on up here, Rose. Okay. Here we go. It's a celebration. It's a celebration. Let's all celebrate and have a good time. Celebration. Let's all celebrate. Gonna have ourselves a good time. It's time to come together. It's up to you. What's your pleasure? Everyone around the world. Come on! It's a celebration. It's a celebration. Celebrate good times. Come on. It's a celebration. Celebrate good times. Come on. Let's celebrate now, because we're gonna have a good time tonight. Let's celebrate. It's all right. We're gonna have a good time tonight. Let's celebrate. It's all right. Celebration. Celebrate. It's all right. Celebration. Let's celebrate. It's all right. Here we go from the top. Here. Let's celebrate. One last time. Celebrate good times. Yo-ho! Okay, you guys make beautiful music together. Scott and Matt.